Hello, welcome to another Friday night stream. Today we're not going to play a game because I'm feeling a bit under the weather, but we are going to look at this book that I just got, which will be very cool. The new setting book for Legend of the Mist, The Hearts of Ravensdale, Book 1, The Dales, which I've not looked at all. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's in here and what I can steal for my game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And it's got all the same art. I assume it's the same artist as the main book, as it all looks very consistent in style. Let's see. The Old Kingdom of Gwydlin. It's probably Gwydlin. The old kingdom of Gwydlin lies in ruins, its once glorious lands retaken by wilderness, where workers of miracles reigned. Now prowl capricious godlings, beastly creatures, and cold-hearted brigands. Yet, in a forgotten backwater, a seed has been planted, sequestered in the fertile soil of faraway mountain valleys, watered by ice-melt brooks. It is watched over only by ravens and by those who remember. And now all that is old wakens, for soon shall come the day this seed will be stirred of its slumber and called to sprout stem, bough, leaf, and acorn, to return to its roots, or face oblivion. Maybe got a bit of a comic thing. Mila, I don't know what gender the speaker's going to be. Mila, there you are, finally. Tidin, what are you doing all the way out here? Uncle Tidin, what's past that ridge? Well, that would be Ashstone. I wish I could go there sometime. You do? Well, you can't go over Greyback Ridge there. That's too difficult of a journey. No, you gotta go around west, through Soddenmoor. Come on, let us head back. Summer's almost gone. Better get to splitting more firewood. But what's past Ashstone? Past Ashstone? Pastures around there. Somewhere. And past that? South Crossing, probably. And past that? Oh, you don't want to go that far. That's the Wonderlands, where no one with a dollop of sense would go. Ever outside the Dales is dangerous these days. Bandits, beasts, creatures of twilight, they don't trouble us out here. And what's past the Wonderlands? By the lady, I don't know. I heard this tale once saying that's where the Winter King dwells. I'm sure we've all had this experience of an annoyingly inquisitive child. Sitting on a throne of ice-clad mountains 100 times taller than any Dale peak, from there he rules over all creatures of twilight. The King of Ghosts, who cannot be outsmarted nor outrun. You cannot hide from him, for he is the shade, and the cold, and the stillness of night. He will take your shadow and put it in his cloak, and force you to live in darkness forever. With the rest of his nasty children. Stop it. No, you don't have to worry about such things. They say no calamity has touched the Dales in 1,000 years. Our lives may be full of toil, but we live in peace. I'm not afraid. If the Winter King came here, I wouldn't let the cold get us. Oh, we've got a big hero here. Careful now, King of Twilights, don't you dare approach us. I'd wallop him with Dad's frying pan. Ha ha, that's the spirit. Crack. There's something out there. Be raining soon, let's hurry home. Yes, Uncle. Nice. So this is Book 1, The Dale. So they're going to release more Hearts of Ravensdale setting books. That'd be quite nice. I do like having setting material to draw upon. Yep. These names look familiar. Almost certainly is the same creators as the main book, given it was all in the same Kickstarter. All right, what have we got in this table of contents here? So we have an introduction, which I guess that's what we just read, maybe? No, we have a separate introduction. So we have Chapter 1, Hill and Valley, which looks like places and character creation, making a Dalish hero. We have cooking and crafting and old ways, magic and other spells. Those two are probably setting-specific mechanics. And we have Chapter 2, Past the Bounds, which sounds like adventure things, winds of change, in brackets factions, making an uncanny hero, unseen magic challenges. Have Chapter 3, Wake of the Old Ways. That's probably like an adventure. And then we have some appendices at the end. Alright. Introduction. The wind in the trees, child. That is all we see of the woven strands of starlight that guide our lives. A thread is tugged way on high, for some purpose invisible, some greater tale of which we are mere notes, and here upon the earth a life ends. Turns or begins, for there is no weed nor blade of grass that hath no star shining above it, whispering to it, grow. Always there's a nurturing hand. Yet all our eyes could ever behold are the treetops rustling in turmoil, or swaying gently, or standing very still. A crow caws. Once or twice in your life you'll heed this quiet moment, you'll touch upon this world unseen with your heart, only once or twice. Rest of the time you'll go on faith, or be left to wonder. Unless you tread the old ways. These old, twisting paths cannot be found, they must be shown. No book accounts for them, no map can trace them. One soul guides another, 'twas always so. And those of us who walk the old ways can see, can hear the voices that stir the trees. For us 'tis not faith, but a feeling, at times murky, other times clear as day. If you wish, I will show you how to listen. Alright, what have we got here? So, you can play as unlikely heroes from a remote rural community. The core book kind of does that, but I guess we have some character creation stuff in here. You can embark on a journey across the dales and explore natural landscapes rich with beauty and peril. You can come to know colourful local characters and encounter uncanny beings, unravel the past, venture into its ruins and unearth lore about the events that shaped the world, and delve into the secrets of ancient magic and cultivate the power to wield it. Right, so... Yes, this is specifically a rustic fantasy setting book, whereas Legend in the Mist is a bit more generic. You can play Legend of the Mist with more fantasy settings, but this, if you don't want to make up your setting, if you want to go specifically for rustic fantasy, this is the book for you. And yes, it refers to the other books. This is the first book in a series. It contains all the background information needed for playing in Hearts of Ravensdale, detailing the Dales and surrounding regions. The following books in the trilogy, nice, will complete the tale, elaborating on regions and forces outside of the Dales. Okay, so there will be 2 more books in this setting thing. Yeah, this is just kind of going more into what rustic fantasy means. I think this is a really good point here. Uncanny creatures, individuals, not races. I hadn't thought about it before, but... Oh, this has kind of been at the back of my mind a little. If you think about a lot of like rustic fantasy things, you will encounter like strange creatures, but you never really get the sense that there's like a whole civilization of things of which this creature is only one member. They're always like very like one-off special things. We never really worry about like if we ever think about where they come from, they come from like old magic, or their origins are lost or something like that. You don't have like a whole civilization of sky whales, for instance. You might have one sky whale that's been around since ancient times, and no one really knows truly where it came from. Let's see, what does it actually say? So, Hearts of Ravendale is only one major species, humankind, but the world is filled with other strange, sapping creatures and terrible monsters. Every dwarf or dragon you might meet is a unique individual with a different nature and their own abilities. No one rule binds them all. I like that. You know, it's kind of dull if you encounter something and you're like, oh, it's a dragon. I know how dragons behave. I know how to deal with this situation. Like a dragon should be a unique and terrible thing. The elves of this world are beings of legend, scarcely known to the people who live upon the earth, and so players must venture forth and discover the inhabitants of this land through the fresh eyes of their heroes. A monster's weakness, a creature's favourite food, a spirit's true name, all await for you to reveal. It has mysterious magic, so the magic is largely unseen, not easily revealed to mortals. Though there is a legendary path to becoming a true worker of miracles. There are many paths to take. The sword is not the only one. Yep, what the swordsman solves with steel, the baker solves with bread, the lover with a kiss, the wise one with wit, and the prankster with a deft trick. So, be creative with your problem solving. And sometimes just treating an enemy with kindness and understanding can be enough to overcome them. Okay, Chapter 1, Hill and Valley, is for the players, and narrator that welcomes you to the Dales, a secluded mountain region where hamlets and farms are nestled between stretches of wild country. Chapter 2 is for the narrator. It's about the larger world and the world's secrets and challenges. Chapter 3, Wake of the Old Ways, is 7 adventures. Oh, that's very nice. I thought it was just 1 adventure from the title, but 7 is good. Which can be played individually as a campaign or as the first act in a mountain-style epic journey. Ooh, maybe I'll be able to pick something from here for my campaign. All right, let's see. Hill and Valley, and this creature is obviously an individual. There isn't like a whole race of like tree women like this. This is a unique person who is like this. And you might never see another person like this ever in all your adventuring. Gaze up to the azure skies and the mountain shadows. Look down upon pastures green and barley gold. Taste the crisp promise of summer rains and winter snow. Hear the lulling songs of river foam and still waters. The serenity of it all, accentuated by a raven's call. Smell the axe-fallen pine and scythe-cut field. The festival incense and banquet earned. Feel autumn's brisk touch upon your cheek, and spring's warming flame stir your heart. Trouble yourself not with what lies beyond misty cliffs and crystal streams. Here, in their comforting embrace, you are never lost, never alone. Come, meet the Dalish in their lands, in pastoral hills where cattle graze, and dense forests where none dare tread. I suppose it could be Dalish. This region is the Dales. So it is probably Dalish rather than Dalish. This is where the Dalish dwell. Right, and this is all stuff that players can see, so familiar places, this must be like, well-known places, that everyone will be kind of at least vaguely familiar with, familiar face reveals characters, you might meet, day-to-day life and culture of these people. We have groups, in Valley by Valley, each dale is explored in detail. Oh, that's good. So the dales is like a specific, possibly even mapped. I see I've got my PDF bookmarks off to the side here. I see there is a map of the dales. That's nice. I think I do prefer settings which are pretty concrete and mapped out, because I think this is like a big divide in RPG material. Some people like things that are like quite detailed and give you a lot to work on, even if there's not, well, I was going to say even if there's not much room for creativity, but that's not really true. There's always room for creativity, but there's a lot of stuff that's fleshed out. There's a lot of detail that's there for you, and this, like anything that's got a map, is probably on the more like fleshed out end of the spectrum. And then you have like adventures and setting books and things that are very much like vibes based, where the GM has to do a lot of work to actually bring it to the table. And I generally prefer the former sort, where it's like the author has done a lot of the work for you, possibly at the expense of flexibility, because that's really what I want if I'm paying for something. I want the details. If it's just like ideas, anyone can come up with ideas. It's turning those ideas into interesting details that's the hard part. So I think a good example of this is I've been watching an actual play of Gradient Descent, which is a mega dungeon in the Mothership system. And at times the GM is really struggling with it, because Gradient Descent is supposed to be this giant like space factory that's producing androids and stuff, and a room might be like as big as a factory full of machinery with all sorts of stuff going on. But then the description of the room is basically, this is an industrial scale room. The only thing of interest here is a group of androids who are doing such and such. And then the GM has to somehow improvise this giant factory from this tiny description. And I don't like that sort of thing. I like, if I'm running a dungeon, I want to have like very specific, like we have like, here is a map, and here's exactly what is in each room, and here's the background lore and all that stuff, because it's the detail that's hard to come up with on the fly. So I like a setting book that has a map. That's a good thing. Anyway, so we have Making a Dalish Hero, which provides tropes, new theme kits, very nice, special improvements and quintessences for creating and evolving a hero in these lands. Cooking and crafting expands on hero actions to create and use foods, tools, and items. And the Magic of the Dales presents the old ways, the Dales' occult traditions, fragments of knowledge and power passed down through generations and intrinsically linked with the land and its people. So it's not just a setting book. So I guess we kind of have like setting over here, like most of it. Then we have some custom character creation rules, and then some custom rules, other custom setting specific rules, which are good. All right, I'm not going to read through like every page because this is a 400-page PDF. But we can at least skim through it. So, okay, Home and Hearth. A Dalish home is where stories begin and unfold, the carving of a new bow, the slow cooking of a stew, the hushed conversation, where ominous tidings are shared, urgent treatment for someone injured in the field, a private ritual at the home altar. Okay, they have home altars, that's interesting to know. So religion or spirituality is very important in this setting, even if magic itself is kind of distant. So this is kind of what homes are like. We have tags that we might find over here. We have scenes that might happen in homes. So let's just pick. I've got my eyes closed. Let's pick on at random here. A burglar creeps in. Yep. We've got a little bit of story here about waking up in the morning and kind of preparing for the day. Each home hides its own secrets, a locked chest in the root cellar, an unspoken tragedy in the family, a shrine to the winds in the back, or a helpful hob that only the homemaker can see. Those are three very different sorts of secrets. Hamlet and Dale, so there are many individual valleys in the Dales that are just sparsely populated. But people... So it's sparsely populated, but people cluster in villages, which are kind of huddled together. It's a very farming place, farming area. People live in homesteads, farms. A village has a longhouse in the middle, which is a communal building used for gatherings. We have lots of more scenes in the villages and scenes across the Dales and tags that might come up. We have places, a bit more story. Let's see, what is the land? Ooh, who made the world? The Dalish have different notions about the creation of the world, but any Dales person pressed sufficiently will admit they don't truly know. Some Dalish believe mighty creatures of twilight shaped the earth long before the Old Kingdom. Others look upon their land and see the handiwork of the Lady of the Dales, their sacred yet distant matron. Others yet spin a tale that the world is a tree and the mountain ranges its roots. Mostly this question is rarely contemplated. Far less attractive than what's for dinner. They're very down-to-earth people. We have the 5 tallest peaks of the Dales with cool names: the Witch's Crook, Greyback, also known as the Wolf, the Plunge, the Watchful Lady, and the Milken Crest. You just kind of imagine what's going on in each of these places or what they kind of look like just from the names. So the Dalish, they know the land well, they appreciate the beauty of the natural world and respect it. There are poisonous plants and aggressive animals. It's dangerous to be out. We have the ruins of this ancient kingdom, Gwendolyn. It's kind of scattered around ruined stone buildings and towers and so on. Little dungeon sites, adventure sites. A map of the Dales. Nice. Okay, so it's a kind of somewhat abstract map rather than like a truly representative geography. Like there isn't like an indication of scale here, but you know this is good enough. So where have we got? We've got yeah, we have Ashstone, which is a rugged no man's land of windswept hills and deep glens, known for its quarries. Each of these has a couple of pages about it. It looks like. So where is Ashstone on this map? I don't see it. A rugged. Oh, here we go. Ashstone. It's in the middle here. Ah, that. So some of the landscape text is not very clear to read. It's like yellow on green. That's not very clear at all. That's a shame. We have Barleytown, the largest dale, crowned with the dale's only town. Farming and trading this bountiful breadbasket and tacit heart of the dale's rival. Tacit heart of the dales rivals all others. Barleytown. Let's see. Barleytown. Here we go. We have Cedar Gate, a forested borderland where loggers and battle-hardened woodwards stand against raiders from the Kragan Highlands. The Kragan Highlands is not in the list, so that's a region beyond. And Cedar Gate. Oh no, we have the Kragan Highlands here, but it's not in this list. Kragan Highlands here and Cedar Gates here. Dolmen Knolls, a tundra of forsaken valleys and barrow-crested mounds, where eerie ruins dwell in restless slumber. Here we go. Dolmen Knolls. It has dolmens in. Actual dolmens, not like Dolmen Wood, which Dolmen Wood is a nice campaign setting. It has a significant lack of dolmens, though, given its name. It should be called Menhir Wood. Anyway, we have lots of cool places. Let's look at what the descriptions of these like. Okay, so the edges of the dales, the faraway lands. And we don't really have much detail, so this must be like what people generally know about them. So let's just look at the Wanderlands, for example. East of the Dales, on the eastern banks of the river Shiverwash, lies the rugged wilderness of the Wanderlands, a vast region that extends north to the territories of Stormhelm, south to the Shiverwash Marches, and far east beyond Tale or Measure. Its nearest parts, seen best from the promontory of Fairport, are for the most part desolate moorish hills. In this land dwell the lawless and the nameless, the forsaken descendants of old Gwendolyn, gathered in small settlements few and far between, or roaming the land in search of fortune or fresh victims. For all its hidden treasures, it is a harsh land, and these are both tags. Ravaged by banditry, nefarious dark arts, and monstrosities that not even the boldest warrior could face. Most Dalish dismiss stories about the Wanderlands as fanciful anecdotes and cautionary tales. Few brave the stony expanse, enticed by stories of exotic nomads and strange treasures. Yet fewer still return, blessed with miraculous relics of the old kingdom, to leave to their descendants as heirlooms, or limp back in shame empty-handed. Outsiders who arrive in the Dales from the Wanderlands are not soon trusted, and after years may be accepted as adoptive Dales people known as Farkin. So I hope that we get more detail on these faraway places in the GM book, because it feels like a natural adventure progression is doing stuff in the Dales and then needing to go out into the lands at the edge. Especially if you're doing a mountain style campaign where the kind of distinctive change between a mountain campaign rather. I think I said landmark. A mountain campaign, where kind of the distinction between Acts 1 and 2 is the progression from local troubles to realizing, oh, there's something in the wider world we need to deal with. Okay, cool. We got some setting information about the Old Kingdom, and we have some languages. So we have Old Gwerdlin, a dead language. Most people are illiterate, but there is a kind of shorthand script that had little to do with the old script. Interesting. Spoken Dalish is just it's the common language. A Dales person can pinpoint another Dales person's Dale of origin by their accents if they've heard that specific Dales accent once or twice before. Yep. There are a few variants of Gwerdlin. Dales people and Stormhelm folk revile and look down on each other's dialects. Okay, we have Dalish people. There are very few townsfolk. There are some Farkin, which are people from Stormhelm or the Wonderlands. Their names. Okay, we have 3 types of names. Single words that denote a natural feature, plant or animal, such as heath, zephyr, willow, or bear, or feeling or idea, such as solace, brave, or felicity. Names that have no particular meaning in Dalish, but a ring that their parents like, such as Mila, Tidin, or Kahira. Or more elaborate names hailing from the distant past of the Dales people, such as Ellsworth, Lauren Tadira, or Alienora, which are considered traditional but odd. Last names can be one of this sort, or they can refer to where you're from or what trade you do. Okay. We have an example character here. Bondo, the miller of Woodend. Possible village you might meet. Typical trades people might do. I see, so we have different sorts of characters. So you could be a villager or a farmsteader, an outlander, or NPCs could be, rather. Player characters could be as well. So I have a little example character of each sort of person and what sort of characters they might have. Wayfarers, you might meet bandits, they could be a wayfarer. Recluses. Recluses you might meet. An elderly couple madly in love. A feral child. A hermit. And so on. Animals. Okay, domesticated animals. We have example farm animals, and these all sound like normal, fairly normal creatures. I'm not entirely sure what a crag horse or a maned cow are. They sound some like fantasy versions of real-world animals. A riding ibex is definitely not a typical farm animal, but I can imagine what it'd be like. We have wildlife. Again, which sounds kind of like mostly like mundane creatures with a few like interesting twists. Like, for instance, we've got the dolmen fox, which sounds kind of interesting. Wildlife split up by forest and valley, in the water and in the sky. Okay, strangers, so visitors from faraway lands. Creatures of twilight. So these are the strange monsters. Though most have never seen one, every Dales person has heard of the reviled creatures of twilight, named so because they are thought to come out of hiding just before nightfall. Cautionary tales of these demons abound among villagers and farmers, and old ways practitioners do their best to educate and protect the Dalish against such terrors. But because they are so rare, folk forget, ignore, or overlook what must be done, and the teachings of the old ways are brushed off as legend. Okay, so this section describes what is known about the creatures of twilight in the Dales, but the truth runs far deeper than the Dalish can imagine, and refers to the narrator section for more information. That's good. So these are more like legend, I guess. The Gloam Wolf, the mother of Mandragora, the Reeling Harvester, the Mossback, Grandfather Crow, the Hag of a Black Oak, Caravan of the Lost, Povka, Pond Ravisher, Harrow, Curdle Curse, Dolmen Dirger, Hexia, Sidurg the Crafty, Thrad Pine Splitter. You can have Twilight Kin, which are kind of a crossbreed between a Dale's person and a creature of Twilight, who possess a fraction of the magic of their Twilight parent. Always good to have magic lineages, very warlock-ish. Okay, just ways of living. Values, lots of story tags that you can bring in as well, along with weakness tags. It's good. It is a place of peace, though without law. Kind of strong community norms, I guess. Villages are ruled by their elders, who have a chosen alderperson or mayor. So, yeah, villages are ruled over by the elders. The elders kind of appoint one of their number to generally be in charge and represent the village if need be. They have trained scouts and fighters. I'd imagine not very many of them, given what we've just seen, but they have trained scouts and fighters called the Red Marshals. Adventurous young volunteers who leave their dale to trade in the central barracks in Barleytown and then appointed by their Grand Marshal to guard specific villages or patrol the roads. A role they may fulfill for a week or for a decade. Handles petty criminals, that's bandits, that sort of thing. And then we have Old Ways practitioners. So the unseen is rarely spoken of publicly in the Dales, yet many Dalish take care to defend themselves against its threats. Many homes contain protective charms and ancestral wards, even if the inhabitants have forgotten their true meaning. Every village has a wise one, though they don't necessarily live nearby. Kind of like the witch in my campaign. She, comes into the village from time to time, but lives in the forest quite far away. So it sounds like a very peaceful place, governed mostly by community norms, with a little bit of force to deal with those who don't respect the norms, like bandits. And they're also practitioners of magic, which might just be like an old guy in the village who knows some special words to deal with the creatures of Twilight to keep them away. There's no religion, but they have beliefs. They believe in the unseen and the Twilight creatures and the old ways. Many people brush off the unseen as something intangible and therefore irrelevant. Some obsess about it and are afraid of it. Some see it as an aspect of nature to be treated and held in the same high respect as the natural world. And some are fascinated by it. Makes sense? So it's a world with pervasive rituals. So we have these everyday blessings, rites of passage, and celebrations of milestones. We have festivals, which look like, I guess, seasonal festivals. So we've got harvest. We have Witherlight, which follows harvest and is a 3-day funeral for nature. I guess it kind of marks the beginning of winter. We have Sprigburn, which celebrates the beginning of spring. There's generally a summer festivals, including one to mark the beginning of harvest. They have a lot of festivals, these people. Oh, that's cool. A list of smells of a Dalish life. That's very rustic fantasy, isn't it? You going to like a house and you wonder, what does it smell like in here? Or maybe it smells of pine resin and beeswax. So for each season, we've got kind of what they generally do, how they pass the time, what their recreation is, and common dangers. So you could really like set the theme for you can really make each season feel different because in summer there's going to be lots of water activities, lots of swimming and fishing. Whereas in autumn, as it's starting to get cooler, it's more like feasts and cookouts and that sort of thing. They don't really use currency. It's more like a trust economy. Currency is only really used with outsiders. Folk songs and stories for everything. Children's tales, morals. A bit more about the Red Marshals. Okay, these are the bands and brotherhoods. Did we? So there isn't really a title page for bands and brotherhoods. We just get into it. So the bands and brotherhoods we have. These are the relevant factions. We have the Red Marshals, who wear red armor. The Old Ways practitioners. The Bone Tenders. Who are these people? They frequent desolate paths to visit the ruins of old Gwydlyn, entwining old ways, charms, and incantations to travel care and preparedness, keep ancient terrors asleep. Okay, so they travel around, making sure that the terrible old things don't wake up. I like that each of these is on a 2-page spread. We have the peddlers. That's it for. Oh, we also have the cult of the crow, like down here in the corner. Members of an emerging woodland cult that is quickly spreading through the dales. Okay, that's interesting. So you could possibly make this could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your campaign setting. Who is spreading the cult of the crow? Who established it? Okay, so now we have some more about each dale and place specifically. So yeah, each of these is like 2 or 3 pages. We've got like a story theme here for the people of this area. Each one has a story theme for its people, and that's good. Because you could take this if you were playing a character from this region, that would fit. Yeah, we've got a quest as well. So the Dolmen Knolls quest is that goodness can be found even in the most barren of places. And we got what is this? There's Delver's gut feeling. Whenever you're about to enter a seemingly abandoned structure, you may ask the narrator for one detail about what awaits you inside, even if you cannot perceive it. So the Dolmen Knoll drifters have a really good sense of like ruins. We've got some tags for the area: Old Kingdom remnants, barren tundra, and gateway to the northern wastes. We have outstanding features like major. So we don't like have a map of each area, but we do have kind of what you can kind of find there. Notable residents, rumors, and tales. I do like rumors. Looks to be the same sort of format for everything. Yep. Ravensdale. It's the name of the book. An oft-forgotten valley of orchards, farms, and fields believed to be named after its many roosting sites of Dalish ravens. Ravensdale bumpkin. I'm happy where I am. Yep, quite a few parts, and we have some smaller dales and villages where, yeah, each one just gets like a one page. All right, making a hero concept. So this should be close to the ground in everyday life. So many legends, beginning with a humble shepherd. It says it should have 4 origin themes. You can maybe have an adventure theme if you want. It's got a list of suggested tropes from the core rulebook, but we've also got a lot of tropes here. So we have simple folk, the crook-wielding goatherd, wayward child, or kindly woodcutter. We have villagers and townspeople, the barrel-chested brewer, householder with a secret, and illuminated stationer. That is an apprentice of inscription, a person of letters, reading and writing. We have guardians, the boorish woodward, the brash red marshal, and the four-handed fire warden. We have wayfarers, the peddler, pilgrim, and poacher. Outlanders, the dead-eyed crow sister, a member of the cult of the crow. The herbwise forager, and the slim delivery kid. What on earth is that? Originally from the mist-obscured swamps of Soddenmore, you've learned to navigate the hidden waterways and paths of the Dales, smuggling stolen and otherwise illicit goods from place to place under the noses of the Red Marshals. Okay, that sort of delivery. We have recluses, the cursing hearthwitch, destitute curse eater, and ridgeline hermit. Strangers, the ponderous Helmian balladeer, the Wonderland's grave robber, and the woods cursed troublemaker. We have always practitioners, the close-knit needlehand, the fate-seeing matchmaker, and the morose bone tender. We have theme kits. So we don't get like the theme book like questionnaire things, but we do have these kits which are kind of basically as good. You can always, make something up if you don't quite like what you see here. And these must be all the special improvements that you can get. You could potentially choose from. Right, yes, these are all grouped into the existing categories. So like horsemanship, for instance, is a skill or trade. So it would have like the skill or trade special improvements, plus there's a suggested one here of horse whisperer. We have items and stuff. Okay. Alright, and now we get on to our new rules. So we have 2 sets of new rules. We have cooking and crafting, then we have the old ways magic. I'm quite interested in this cooking and crafting because, obviously having rules for magic, that's covered in the core rulebook. And while I said you could make up rules for other stuff, there isn't an example of it for anything other than magic. So let's see. Meals are a staple of rustic fantasy. Whether it's the simple breakfast that gets you up in the morning, biting into fantastic honey cakes at the home of a magical stranger, or recalling the good old taste of home. In the Dales, there is a great appreciation for cooks, bakers, and brewers who provide nourishing, delicious meals and beverages that lift spirits and keep bellies warm. So, let's see. You collect recipes, which gives you a benefit. It's made of ingredients. This sounds a lot like the suggested alchemy magic system in the core rulebook, right? Where you need recipes and you produce specific things, like potions in the case of alchemy, but foodstuffs in this case. Yeah, it's basically a magic system, but for rather than producing a potion of whatever, you produce some sugar cakes. You get good tags if things go well. You get bad tags if things go poorly. Try to figure out what this thing is. This is probably cheese parcels, right? That looks maybe cheese-like. It's yellow. A cheese parcel made by baking a mixture of eggs and brined goat cheese inside a pocket of pastry. Maybe? This is obviously some sort of stew, probably the hunter's stew here. And crafting. So is this going to be kind of the same sort of thing? It is, yes. So for cooking, you need a recipe and ingredients. For crafting, you need a design and tools and ingredients. So it's basically the same thing, just reskinned to be crafting rather than cooking. And they're both just kind of reskinned alchemy from the core rulebook. So yeah, you can make your own rules in this game pretty much, because it's all very very flexible. And then we have the magic. Let's see. Now we have a set of different magic traditions. Okay, so you kind of mix and match or pick what's relevant. Right, artisanal magic. Through skill, concentration, and sacred passed down designs, the artisanal practitioner crafts items imbued with blessings and practical magic. It takes time. So it takes downtime specifically. And gives you a tag. Okay, but you need designs, you might need materials or tools. Nice, we have theme kits for these things, for different sorts of crafting you can do. Cunning folk magic. Those whose inner eyes open can see beyond the realm of the mundane. So the ability to sense the unseen, speak with spirits, and so on and so forth. You have to bargain with these creatures, build relationships with them. They have, again, different theme kits for these things. You have hearth magic. It's kind of home-based magic. This is tending to a specific location, which gives you good tags. If you're in this place, you can repel anyone trying to invade your sacred space. You can work little miracles there. You can interact with house spirits. Cooking magic and herbalism. I guess this would just be like an expansion of the cooking stuff we just looked at. Shrine magic. There are shrines all around the Dales. They're not great temples, but little constructions easily overlooked, so it's kind of interesting that like religion isn't really practiced in this area, but there are all these little shrines. So they kind of believe in the power of nature and of little spirits. And finally, spells. So incantations, hand signs, and rituals that unlock the power of the unseen. Like your witch stuff. Some people have special powers. Typically, these are Twilight kin, so the descendants of creatures of Twilight, like half-breeds. All right, now we move on into the GM section. This is clearly some sort of like crow cultist person here, which looks very cool. I will step away for a moment, and then we will get into the GM chapter. Alright, let's see what we got here. The world is a tree, not an oak that grows upon the earth, but not unlike one. At its roots are the waters of a dark, infinite pond. Its leaves and acorns glisten in that living darkness and illuminate it. So it is, so it has been, so it ever shall be. There are two, the tree and its reflection in the water. One is called the Tree of Stars, and the other the Tree of Lives, that which the mortals call their earth. To the mortals, the tree's roots seem as great mountains, and the soil between them as trackless lands. In their small lives, they cannot see the magnificence of its foliage. Only in the night sky is it revealed. As above, so below. A leaf stirs in the Tree of Stars, and its luminous shadow passes upon the Tree of Lives, where then night falls, a storm gathers, or someone takes their first or last breath. All befalls by the shadow and light of the Tree of Stars. For every blade of grass upon the earth has a star that shines over it and whispers, "Grow, grow." And so it is with all things growing and moving and breathing, the beasts, the rivers, the winds, even the hills. So it is with the hearts of mortals. The starry leaves. Upon the Tree of Stars lived the children of twilight, thus named long ago, for they are its stars, its sidereal leaves, each as radiant as the sun. Their light and shadow, their sprid, gives life and animation to all that lives upon the earth. Without it, the meagre reflection that is natural life would fade away. For each of them there is a purpose, a province upon the land to cultivate, be it the moonlight, a fox's tail, the rolling mists, or the kitchen fire, and all together toil for the caretaking of the everlasting trees. In this realm there is no death, nor sorrow, nor discord, naught is hidden. All see all, and in seeing all are as one. The acorns. Apart but akin, the tree's acorns fall from way on high, plunging into the dark pond in the earth below, and are planted in the hearts of mortals, in what they would call a soul. In them is will and wisdom, the spark of being that both gives strength to mortals and stirs them to ponder their own existence. And in them also is a wish, which once awakened cannot be quenched, though rarely is it put into words, to return to the Tree of Stars. Many never sprout. Forgetting their origin, they give their will to all matters of the mortal world. That too is by design, and by this freedom the mortal world marches on. But a sprouted acorn will shine with its own bright and shadowy sprid, as a star upon the earth. It will feel the wish and find the power to join with the tree, to become a shaper of the world. They call such mortals thaumaturges, workers of miracles. For this acorn to grow, it must understand itself, through great sacrifice and great travails, and yet that is the most veiled secret of the trees, that their flourishing stems from this journey, this fall and return of the acorns, whose stories of overcoming, of healing, as many and varied as the stars in the night sky, breathe life into the very heart of the world. So it is, so it has been, and so it ever shall be. The Emerald Branch. Upon the Tree of Stars, the children of twilight who share one limb of the tree all belong to the same great house or court, and care for matters in the province of their kin. There are many branches to the tree, but for the purposes of our story, two matter most. The Emerald Branch, fair and kind, has the task of nourishing the acorns. They seek promising mortals, ignite the wish in their hearts, and offer to guide them in their journey to become thaumaturges. And the Ruddy Bough. Yet not all acorns who sprout grow back into the tree. Some become gnarled, taken by mortal desires, and use their powers of thaumaturgy to bend the world to their pleasure or to tear it asunder. For that, the Ruddy Bough, fierce and mysterious, were tasked with the pulling of weeds, eradicating thaumaturges who had forgotten the way back. Each house of twilight and its member leaves shine from above to turn the tide in favour or against thaumaturgy. Where the emerald stars shine, thaumaturges thrive, and where the ruddy light falls, they falter. The Twilight Emissaries. Yet from that great distance, upon the branches of the Tree of Stars, the influence of a star's sprit is at times too sweeping and too broad, like a rain shower when one simply needs a watering can. They found themselves in need of a finer instrument, and thus learned to cast their shadows upon the Tree of Lives, so to take the form of mortal beings and walk among them, and tend to their province in person and with precision. Such shadows are called emissaries. Often did the mortals confuse them with the children themselves, but the wise know them to be merely shadowy reflections, guises easily replaced by another form. Old Gwerdlin. And so it was in one of the many cycles of the acorn's fall and return, that the invisible wind that blows in the branches of the tree swayed it so that the emerald branch shone brighter upon the world, and thus came to pass the bewitched kingdom of Gwerdlin. But it was a wonder short-lived that later brought much sorrow and suffering to the world. Okay, I'm not going to read this out aloud anymore. There's so much of this. Okay, so there were 3 thaumaturges who ruled Gwerdlin. Thaumaturgy was coming to an end. End of magic, a good trope. There was war between them. The Winter King came. Bad stuff happened. And the kingdom fell, devoured by magic's foul and twisted. That was 300 years ago. So this chapter has the Tale of the Three, which is what we've just read. A legend about what happened in the world. We have Of Spirit and Stars, which covers the cosmology more. What you need to know to understand magic and magical creatures. We have the factions currently at work. The hidden history of the Dales. How to make adventurer level heroes. And folk magic and thaumaturgy. And that looks like everything for... We also have challenges, which aren't in this bulleted list, but we have challenges here as well. In a mystery-shrouded tale such as the one Hearts of Ravensdale seeks to tell, your role as a narrator is mostly to hide this chapter's lore from the players, and judiciously dispense tiny drops of truth as you go along. So everything should feel very legendary, very mystic. People shouldn't really learn the truth. Okay, so we have more about the trees and the acorns and the sprid. I feel I probably won't directly use this bit in my campaign because I already kind of know sort of how the world works, or at least enough to an extent to know that it's not like cosmic trees. But if you were running in this world, this would be all clear stuff to read. Okay, so we have stars, which are celestial beings. They govern all that occurs on the earth. So potentially this is a world where like astrology could actually work. We have humans who mostly are normal people and do not truly awaken to their true potential. But some do. Thaumaturges are human beings whose acorn has fully sprouted and possess an adventure-level potent spirit. A great thaumaturge, as you might expect, has a greatness theme. And some truly great can ascend to join the tree, leaving their mortal body behind. What is that? Some sort of horrifying mole person? So these are the fallen leaves. They are stars or fragments of stars who've been cut off from the tree. So they're kind of cosmic beings that have been separated from um, the true divine reality to which they should belong. Each fallen leaf is unique. Fallen leaves can procreate and multiply in myriad ways, but in doing so, they give a portion of their sprid to their progeny, accelerating their own calcification and demise. For example, the harpies of the northern wastes were all humans transformed by the same mother, or by other harpies, but each generation possesses diminishing might. I like that. So, every so often, a fallen leaf, it's kind of like fallen angel pretty much, arrives in the world, um, cut off from what it truly should be, a kind of horrifying monster. And it can beget other monsters, but in so doing weakens itself. And eventually, the kind of seed of divinity that landed is so diluted that it may as well not exist. But for a while, it's a major part of the world. The Dalish don't really know the true history of the world. Makes sense. All right, so we have like the major characters or like forces, I guess. They have the Lady of the Dales, who our people sometimes pray to. We have the Winter King, who's this kind of fearsome old story. Fell Fool and White Sorcerers look like the remnants of the old Gwerdlin and more. Okay, so that was all kind of evil factions. So we have the Secrets of the Dales. So okay, so yeah, each thing we have a list of secrets. That's good. So the Dolmen Knolls is the old burial site of Guardolian thaumaturgical nobility. Some of the catacombs tunnels open up under Withermere Lake, which was a mountain valley back then, and they are therefore submerged. Or the Jotun's Ossuary is accurately named as the resting place of giants, fallen leaves who fought on the side of the Winter King in the war. The last of them were repelled here in a great battle fought at this hill fort, held by thaumaturges and Guardolian soldiers loyal to the lady. Yep, these are all, potential adventure seeds. Alright, Uncanny Hero. What is an uncanny hero? The world is full of strange creatures, adept sorcerers, gallant knights, and mysterious vagabonds who hold great power or are simply aware of the happenings in the ruined realm. So essentially, this is saying you should keep these limited because it's meant to be a kind of mundane game. But you can have a slightly more exciting character if you want. Uncanny, like they're all, yeah, uncanny heroes. I don't know why he wants to be this like horrifying mole person. A fiendish burrower, that's gotta be what this is, right? An earthbound creature of twilight, you belong among the loam and the leaves. finding hidden treasures underfoot. You do not think or act as these Dales folk do. You have your own motives and ways, foreign to their skybound heads up in the clouds as they are. Look for trinkets, seek worthy companions, and show the land treaders that there is more beneath their boots than they know. Theme kits: acute nose, root bed shambler, strong as an ox, and choose one of gruff, love of the land, or snares and traps. Yeah, this guy looks awful. I wouldn't want to be this guy. Bunch of theme kits, quite a few of them. We have companions, a friendly badger, nice. Weakness tag, overprotective, that's a good one. A companion, a hive of bees. So imagine someone like traveling around with like a wooden beehive with like backpack straps that they kind of carry around with them. Postal courier is a great companion. You know, they're always traveling around, so it makes sense. Like why, like the postal courier is kind of like the driving force of the journey, but if they're the companion character, you're the driving force of the story. Interesting little way of structuring things there. Ooh, magic items. I love magic items. Recipes, for crafting things. Specific treasures, which are their own like story, like themes. All right, unseen magic, Sprid. I wonder if it's Spride because it does have a Y in it. Sprid doesn't sound like a very good word. I don't know, Sprid, Spride, whatever. But yes, this magic is all very tied into the cosmology. Then we have folk magic. I mean, I guess you could, just kind of get rid of the Sprid and just, talk about like willpower or presence or that sort of thing. These are using the like the descriptions from the core book of making your own magic system. So you could, easily like reflavor this. You have thaumaturgy, which is like the high magic thaumaturges, miracle workers, cultivate within them an inner being that originates from the realm of the stars, becoming a living source of wonder that can transform the world by their very will. Thaumaturges can make ice catch fire and rain turn to knives, heal the dying, and swap autumn for spring. For them, nothing is impossible, but the road to achieving this profound state is long and arduous. So it's like a whole like rule around how you actually become a thaumaturge, how you cultivate your power. And then there's the actual thaumaturgy itself, which comes down to miracles. Looks like you kind of cultivate specific powers, which have several aspects to them. And then we have challenges of a bunch of different sorts. So things that could happen in a village, a close-knit circle, like a group of bullies. A curdle curse, a drowned cellar, a grit smelter. What is this? Grit Smelter, known in the Dales as Laura Grit Smelter, is a twilight emissary of the Emerald Burnt Branch, embodying an aspect of enduring belief in humankind, sent to seek and forge sent to seek and forge new heroes. She works at a village for a few years as a blacksmith while forging the quality she seeks in the locals. When her work is done, or if she suspects it, she packs up and goes to another village. When a hero shows at her forge for everyday smithing needs, they'll be subjected to questions that will put their quests at risk and in conflict in order to reveal their true self, timed with the blows of the hammer. This process causes intense emotional distress, but in the end it brings out one's potential, encouraging heroes to mark abandon or milestone based on what is said. Alternatively, give Forged 3 and force a theme change when Forged 6 is maxed. Nice. So it's just like a seeming like normal local blacksmith who just happens to ask very like penetrating questions that really get to the heart of who you are and what you want to do with your life. I like that challenges kind of cover a lot of very different things in this system. Neighbor with a secret. Ostracism. Cat with the face of a man. We have a journey. Family feud. A communal goal. I might be able to use some of these challenges in my campaign. I'm also interested in what the adventures are. As we've got, 7 adventures? That's pretty cool. We have Across the Dale, so these are things that you can encounter outside the village, but not like super far away, I suppose. Yeah. This is a kind of like embodied whirlwind thing, the Reeling Harvester. Yep, just a lot of these things, more journeys, more challenges. Yep. Guess I'll probably read through these more closely between sessions, like before next time, and see if any make sense to bring into the campaign. All right, now we have adventures. We've got 7 of these, it said, which either fit together into like a kind of mini campaign, or possibly standalone adventures, or possibly the first acts of a mountain campaign. And it has suggestions for solo play, which is good. All right, not going to read all the details of the adventures, but I just want to know that it's the synopsis of each. So, a shadow in the barley interrupts the hero's quiet pastoral life with the arrival of an unnatural threat in the village of Ravensdale, which reveals itself to be a symptom of a larger problem affecting all the Dales, the seeming waning of the old ways, so the old magic. And then there are 2 spring adventures, an important letter and a fox in the Dales. They take the heroes on different journeys throughout the Dales, pursuing local problems that reveal more about the nature of the great danger. And the waning of the old ways is the overarching threats of the campaign. I have 2 adventures in summer, the Green Maiden and the Painted Beast, which introduce powers beyond the daily lives of the Dalish, bringing heroes into contact with aspects of the greater world. And then we have an adventure in autumn, the Barleytown Fair, where people from throughout the Dales come together for one last celebration before winter. And the heroes gain an important key that allows them to finally arrive at the Lost Hermitage. Is that another adventure? I think it is, just judging by the page number. Where terrible truths are discovered and the fate of the Dales determined. So, if this is the first act of a mountain campaign, I was thinking for my campaign, the first act would be like 3 adventures, then we'd move into Act 2 and then have like 3 adventures there, and then move into Act 3 and have probably 3 adventures, and then that would end the campaign. But this is 7 adventures just in Act 1, so this is a pretty long mountain campaign. We have some hooks for how to bring people in, along with fellowship themes, which is good. So you can like really tie people into the adventures. Oh, nice. You have suggestions of how to do things not in Ravensdale as well. Still in the Dales, but suggestions of how to change things. And yeah, I'm not going to read through these adventures in detail because there's 7 of them. It's a pretty long section of the book, but let's just have a look at how they're laid out. So, what do we got? So we have like a kind of synopsis, not even synopsis, like an intro to the adventure, the background lore. Then we have an actual synopsis, hooks to bring players in, and then we have the adventure itself. This looks like a journey to start with in the beginning, maybe. So we kind of have this series of challenges and more lore to reveal. Got boxed text you could read aloud if you were so inclined, but no one really likes boxed text. Yeah, looks pretty easy to follow. Then we have the aftermath. Let's see, what do we have here? So it's either the hero. So it says what the hero should realize, or what an NPC can tell them if they don't realize, which then kind of the hook towards the next adventure. Yep. This one have a little bit of a journey. I guess it has this like map thing. Okay, that looks good. Each one isn't like especially long, so it seems like it wouldn't be too tricky to run them. What is this? Is this some sort of elf thing, perhaps? Okay. Right, what have we got next? So we have our adventures. Okay, campaign aftermath. Yeah, so essentially, like, what has happened? How have the actions of the players changed the world, and what was kind of next? Then we have revelations. So for each adventure, you can look at the next revelation, which will then lead you into the next adventure. And then we have some oracle tables. So yeah, that's the book. 419 pages in total. It looks pretty good. I'm definitely going to look through the challenges wherever they were. Here we go, challenges. I'm going to flip through these challenges a bit more closely off stream, and then maybe I'll draw upon these for the next adventure of the campaign. But we will see. And yeah, I think I'll call it here today. So it is a bit of a short stream, but as I said, I'm not feeling 100% today. And we'll return next week with part 3 of our campaign. I feel like we resolved a problem in the last session and didn't really have a clear direction of where to go. So I guess we'll need to figure out where we go. But yes, part 3, which will probably be the final like part of Act 1 of our Manson campaign, and will lead us into the wider world, where we can start to pursue the Lich, potentially, or at least one of his lieutenants. All right, there may or may not be a stream tomorrow. as I have a plumber potentially coming to fix my heating tomorrow. I hope he does come tomorrow, because if not, he said it will be Monday, and I've already been without heating in my house all week. So I kind of hope that I don't have a stream tomorrow because the plumber is over fixing things, but we will see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.